Hey guys, what's going on? It's Ash here coming at you today in Clash Royale with one of my favorite guests of all time back on the channel, St. Belkin. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, thank you.
Today I brought you back on the channel. Last time we talked about, what did we even talk about last time?
I think it's talking about how to create a deck. So we're talking about the Expo deck and how to create decks.
Oh yes, how to create decks. That was a really good one. I'll link that in case anybody wants to go back and listen to that one after this one as well. I'm also going to share at the end of this video a cool new feature in Plex Chat called the Deck Assist, which is really awesome. I'll share that again at the end of the video. But for now, we're going to get into the 25 top decks right now in Clash Royale. I'm going to bring St. Belkin on. Well, he's already on, I guess. So he's going to share his top 5 win conditions in the new meta. And then he's going to share his favorite deck in each win condition. I'll supplement that by sharing 4 additional decks with each win condition. So St. Belkin, start us out, man. What do you think the top win conditions in the game are right now?
So right now, I believe the top win conditions in the game are Golem, 3 Musketeers, Mega Knight Hog, Expo, and Minor Poison Skeleton Bell.
Okay, so let's start with Golem, because that's probably the most surprising to me on the list of your top archetypes, because it feels like the pump right now took that hit, and Golem decks might be struggling a little bit, but you think otherwise. What's your favorite Golem deck, and why do you think that Golem decks are still strong, top 5 in the meta?
Well, I think as Flobby proved in Gamergy, Golem decks are still very relevant despite the pump nerf. And even with bans such as Night Witch ban, Rocket ban, not Rocket ban. Even with Rocket bans, there's Golem decks that don't have Rocket, and even Golem decks without pump that are still doing well in the meta.
Yeah, for sure. So, is the Flobby version with the baby dragon and the lumberjack your favorite Golem deck right now?
Yeah, it's my favorite because you can still cycle fairly quickly, and because you got the tornado, you can even though you don't have a big counter to 3 Musketeers, with the baby dragon tornado, you can tornado all their 3 Musketeers together, and then just overwhelm your opponent.
Okay.
And also with tornado, you can tornado the troops to your opponent's tower so that your baby dragon and everything attack. The baby dragon slash damages the tower, and everything goes close to the tower and is better for taking down the tower.
Okay,
compared to Rocket.
Yeah, so how do you feel about Golem decks without the pump? Do you think that they're viable? I saw that like TMD Aaron was using the Flying Machine version, which is like kind of like a Golem cycle deck with Miner as well. Do you think that those type of decks are still strong as well?
Yes, but if you're using a Golem deck without pump, you have to use Ice Spirit and a Tornado, in my opinion, because the Ice Spirit helps you to cycle instead of helping the extra elixir from the pump to help you cycle. And you got Tornado for stopping your opponent punish you really hard with a Hog Rider or Balloon, because a Tornado can be very good against Hog Rider and Balloon.
Okay, well, let's move on to the next archetype. Well, I think that when we talked off air, you said that your favorite was Expo. Maybe let's talk about Expo decks, like Expo, and I assume Mortar is pretty strong too, in your opinion, like Siege in general.
Yeah, Mortar is really good in ladder, especially for people who don't have fully maxed cards, every single card.
Yeah.
Mortar Hog is a really good alternative, and people like Pro Top Kicker are top 10 global with it right now, without any max legendaries.
That's crazy. That's a big achievement. Coming from you, you're someone who plays ladder. You know, let's set the record straight here, Belkin. How difficult is it to really contend? Like, can you contend without max legendaries, top 5, top 20 ladder, top 10?
Well, last season somebody called Pedrino MLK finished 4th with Hog Mortar, so it's certainly possible.
Wow.
But I feel like it's really helpful to have max legendaries, as everyone I'm looking at all the people who finished high last season. The only person who finished high without legendaries was Takeki, and he finished 14th last season with Hog Cycle.
Yeah, so important to have those levels at that level, especially of ladder. But okay, so talk a little bit about your favorite Expo deck and maybe your favorite Mortar. You already said it was Hog Mortar. You guys can see the decks right now. My top 5 according to StatsRoyale.com. What do you think is the best in your opinion? I saw you top like 40 ladder recently on TV Royale playing an Expo deck. Tell us a little bit about that deck, maybe. Is that your favorite Expo
So
deck?
yeah, it's my favorite Expo deck. It's Expo, Skeletons, Ice Spirit, Archers, Ice Golem, Log, Fireball, Tesla. And the reason I like it so much is because of the Tesla, and you can cycle it so quickly. So even against giant decks, you can usually force out a tie because giant decks, hog decks, bloom decks, they're all very, very weak to Tesla, and you can cycle that defense so fast that even if you never put an Expo down the whole game, they can't get any damage because your Tesla just destroys their entire offense.
Yeah, definitely a super strong variation. Do you think that Expo is a card that needs to be, because it's an epic win condition, do you think it's a card that needs to be, maxed or like at level to contend with, or is that one of the cards that you can get away with as a win condition, maybe a little bit under leveled, like, I don't know the exact equivalent of trophies, but how do you feel about the epic win condition of the Tesla, or excuse me, of the Expo?
Well, while it's obviously still important, it's not as important as some other cards because the main focus of Expo is on the defense of the Expo, not the actual Expo. So I feel like if you level up your Archers and your Tesla, you'll even with a slightly under-leveled Expo, you'll still be fairly well off.
Okay, cool. How about, and you said that let's talk about Hog next because that kind of still keeps us in the realm of Mortar. So let's talk about Hog decks. How do you feel about Hog after the nerf? You guys can see the top 5 Hog decks according to win percentage right now on the screen. How do you feel about Hog right now in general? And then give us a list of maybe your top 3 or so Hog decks right now in your opinion.
So right now, I think Mega Knight Hog is the best Hog deck as it was in the previous metas.
The Inferno
But
Dragon
also,
one.
Yeah, with Inferno Dragon, but this time it's got Guards and Ice Spirit instead of Goblins and Ice Golem. I think it's just really well rounded. It's got a really, really strong defense. It cycles extremely well, and Hog is just still one of the best win conditions, and it's very hard to stop every time consistently.
Yeah, so Hog Mortar, and then, Hog Mega Knight, and then Hog Mortar.
And then Hog Executioner Tornado is still really good right now. Because the Executioner Tornado is really good against the Golem decks, which don't have Rocket, because they have nothing to attack the Executioner besides trying to tornado the Executioner towards their troops.
What do you think about Hog Hunter? Do you think that Hunter could play a role with Hog, or do you think that Hunter is not a very good combo with Hog?
I don't think Hunter works well with Hog. But it can work as a defense, but I feel things like Tesla or Executioner Tornado are just so much more reliable than a Hunter. There's just better alternatives too.
We'll get your thoughts in a moment too on Hunter and Zappies. So, but before we do that, let's talk about Miner Skeleton Barrel.
So, Miner Skeleton Barrel is another one of the really, really consistent decks. You can put it with Mega Knight or Guards. Or you can even have Goblin Hut as well, because that can act as a poison bait, which can help bait the poison from your Skeleton Barrel. Also, Skeleton Barrel really synergizes well with Bats, because if you do a Bats Skelly Barrel push and the Skelly Barrel tanking for it, they probably will try and zap the Bats, because the Bats are going to destroy either their troops trying to defend the barrel or their tower. So they have to zap the Bats or find some other way to do it with the Bats, which beats their quick spell to kill the skeletons from the barrel.
Yeah, and what do you feel? How do you feel about regular Miner Poison? Do you think that those decks are still viable? I'm showing a couple right now on the screen that have pretty high win percentages without the Skeleton Barrel.
So the problem with Miner Poison is that there's no, in many of those decks, unless you got a Cannon Cast or Battleram, there's no proper punish. So you need to have a thing like Giant or Golem or Mega Knight with them, so you have a good punish.
Yeah, like Goison. Do you think that Goison kind of falls into that realm a little bit?
Yes, yes, it does.
Really strong. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, Giant Poison is really good right now because it's got a really strong defense. I mean, because of the Prince and Guards buff, which work really well with Giant, it means that you can perform a really good punish of Giant Prince or Giant Mega Minion now, which is really good for punishing the pump. Also, another good thing for Giant Poison is the Poison, which is I think it's the most used spell, non-2 elixir spell right now. because it's so good in this meta.
Yeah,
Now
absolutely.
completely cancels out the pump, which is still very prevalent in many decks because the main reason pump is good is that it stores elixir, not necessarily that it gains you elixir, but it's a store of elixir for a bigger push.
That's a good point. I never heard it said that way about the pump. That's why we brought you on, Belkin. So, talk about the last archetype that you think. By the way, I included some Goison decks in with the minor skeleton barrel deck because it's kind of the same. I don't know, premise, I guess. I don't know. I'm cheating. So, the last archetype is Three Musketeers. I think that this is still the strongest. How do you feel, Belkin? Three Musketeers?
I love Three Musketeers. It's my favorite deck right now. I in the previous meta it was obviously very good as AK finished number 2 with it, and I was using it in lots of tournaments last season. So I finished second in Drake's Cup, mainly using Three Musketeers. But it's still very relevant because you can still see people like AK and Nova Nemesis who are both top 10 with Three Musketeers. And the best variation of Three Musketeers right now is the if you look at the replay I just shared versus Nova Octe, he's using I use Miner Goblin Gang Minion Horde. I think that's the best version right now because you got all these swarm cards and you got so much bait and so much punish, and it just you can always play a card because you can always cycle with these cards.
Yeah, indeed, and that's still my favorite deck as well. What do you think about a couple of the different variations? I'm seeing Three Musketeer Golem that's included here, Three Musketeer Giant Dark Prince, Three Musketeer Skeleton Barrel. It seems like there's a lot of different variations of Three Musketeers. What is maybe your second favorite deck?
So my second favorite is probably Giant Three Musketeers. Let me just share a replay of this.
Cool.
So it's with Prince, Skarmy, and Minions.
Okay.
The reason I like this is because of the Skarmy. So quite often they'll use Zap to kill the minions because it's just natural instinct to use Zap to kill the minions. Because Skarmy is not used very much, they forget to save the Zap for the Skarmy, and it means it can be very good defense versus things like Hog. It's very good against Three Musketeers as well because there's so many units that Three Musketeers cannot attack them all, and it just overwhelms them.
Yeah, it's definitely that's a really interesting one. I haven't seen that one before with the Skarmy, but I like that a lot. So there you have it. That's our top 25 decks right now in the meta. I do want to ask you, about a couple of that aren't included, right? Like, so Lava Loon decks, kind of hurting right now, and certainly just kind of the old like Hog Cycle decks. I included one in the top 25, but like, how do you feel about maybe those archetypes, Lava Loon and even Bait? So Lava Loon, Bait, and regular Hog Cycle.
The problem with Lava Loon is that there's so much in the meta. The main sort of decks are baiting big cards, like the Three Musketeer one baits. You got Mortar decks generally have bait. If you look at TV Royale, there's lots of things. You got the Mirror bait, Mortar Hog bait, Prince bait, Giant Three Musketeers. There's all these decks that aim to bait out cards, and Lava Loon is just not very good at playing against that because you want to build up this big push. But unlike Golem, it's not as strong in terms of attacking the defense of your opponent. So therefore, it's extremely hard to get around defenses of people who use these Three Musketeer decks.
And what about Bait? You said Bait a lot there. What about Bait in general? Do you think that the Bait archetype, I know that there's a few people having success with the minor version, like Inferno Tower of Bait, like the new Bait with Minion Horde. How do you feel about like Goblin Barrel decks in general right now?
I think they're the main contributor to rock, paper, scissors in the game because it's a decision between log and zap. Arrows, log, zap. How do you choose which one when there's all these different decks? So you got decks which have like Lava Loon, which basically you need air cards for. You need to zap arrows for, and then you got these bait decks which if you don't have if you only got zap for log arrows, you're going to have a really tough time. So I think, especially Princess, they're the main contributors to rock, paper, scissors the rock paper scissors idea in the game.
And what about Graveyard?
Oh, graveyard. I think it's hurting because of all the Three Musketeer decks and all the bait decks. Because
Sure.
all these spammy goblins and minions are extremely good at applying pressure to one lane while also defending the goblin. Sorry, while also defending the graveyard. So it's exceptionally hard to get a consistent graveyard push off while also not taking too much damage from the opponent's split push.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that makes sense too about Graveyard. I feel like there are some Graveyard decks that kind of work, but it's difficult with the meta being such as it is. Before we let you go, Belkin, I did want to ask you about just the 3 new cards, right? So maybe some quick thoughts on Zappies, Hunter, and Royal Ghost.
So Zappies are one of the worst cards in the game. I'm fairly sure they're 4 elixir,
I agree,
and they do absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
They do so little damage. They're exceptionally weak. They basically almost die to log, and they don't even hit air, so they'll just ignore air troops. So minions, Mega Minion, Minion Horde, Flying Machine just destroys them. I feel like they should target air because then at least they can somewhat defend against those cards. But even then, they just do so little damage output that they're just not good.
Buff Zappies,
baby. They need a buff. Yeah.
What about how do you feel about Hunter and maybe some speculation on Royal Ghost?
Okay, I love Hunter because I think it's perfectly balanced. It's not overwhelmingly overpowered like the Executioner was at release. It's not weak where it can't be used in any deck. It works. It can work in sort of any deck, but it has. Take it with a pinch of salt because it's not necessarily working extremely well in every deck. But it just provides a really useful tool that can work like a tank killer. It can work as a splash killer, but it's not overwhelmingly good at its job, so it's not too broken.
And Royal Ghost?
I'm not sure about this. One misconception is that people think it's invisible to the player. It's not. It's invisible to cards until it attacks it. It only attacks. It only attacks ground, I think. Wait, let me check that.
Yes.
So if there's a strange interaction where if a air card walks past it, they just both ignore each other because the Royal Ghost only can be seen when it's attacking, and it doesn't see the air card. So they just walk past each other like nothing ever happened.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I played it a little bit on the dev build too, and people are saying he's going to be so OP, but I think that maybe he'll be good. And I think any card at 3 elixir has a better potential of being good, but just because 3 and 2 elixir are good just cycle cards in general. So I think he'll be good, but I don't think he'll be like incredibly overpowered. So I think I agree with you there.
Yeah, another thing is that I think like Tesla, but I'm not sure if you throw a fireball at it while it's invisible, does it get hit?
No.
Okay, so it's like Tesla in that respect. You can't spell cycle against it. So that means if you're playing against someone who's using lock bait, for example, if you put the Royal Ghost behind your tower, they can't just rocket your Royal Ghost and get some cheap damage.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I'm almost positive. They could have changed it because that's like, at least when I played it, I think that was the case.
Okay, so you can at least put it in the back without any worry of being attacked.
It can be, like you said, it can be seen by the opponent, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to die, or it can't be targeted.
Yeah, it means that the troops can't see it, not the player.
I think so. Yeah, well, I know that about the card, but the spell thing is an interesting question. Now I'm starting to doubt myself. I don't know. I'll have to look into it.
We'll find out tomorrow.
Yeah, because think about it. If you, I don't know. No, I think when he's invisible, you can't be targeted. But who knows? You're right. We'll look really dumb or really smart tomorrow. So,
yeah.
But hey, man, I'm gonna go ahead and explain the card assist tool for Plex Chat. Any shout outs, final words, anything else that we need to know before we let you go?
No.
All right. Same Belkin, thank you so much for coming on, man. I really appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, guys, so as promised, before I let you go, I wanted to show you a few screenshots highlighting the newest tool inside Plex Chat. It's a mobile app, online community. It's a really unique and awesome community. That's why I'm so passionate about it, because it's just so positive and like I said, really unique right now in the Clash Royale ecosystem. So if you want to be a part of an awesome community with cool tools such as this, basically all you have to do is download, join, and check it out. Basically, you can go ahead and link your profile inside Plex Chat to Stats Royale. You can pull all your stats in, your card levels, what trophies you're at, your arena level. We have pros inside the app. We have AMAs all the time, so there's just like a lot of pro interaction, and you can get recommendations via the deck assist tool based on your card levels, your arena, and it's just an awesome, helpful community. And I know it's one of the most popular things I get in the comments is recommend a deck for me for this range. Here's my card levels. Well, this tool makes that really easy to do. I go in there and help out on a daily basis, as well as people who know way more about the game than I do. So guys, hope to see you inside Plex Chat. Also, huge shout out to Tanmay Sawal. He is my YouTube sponsor of the day. Thank you so much, Tanmay. And of course, a big shout out to my YouTube partner, Bren Chong. Bren also has a new game out. Check it out in the link below, in the description below. Link, description, it's all the same, I guess. Guys, thanks so much for watching. And as always, take care, guys.